In this video, something both touching and unexpected takes place. A dog sits quietly, gazing at a painting of the crucifixion of Jesus Christ. The artwork shows Christ on the cross, with his mother Mary and Mary Magdalene mourning at his feet. Of course, the dog cannot understand theology or scripture the way we do. Yet in its silence, it seems to recognize something deeper: the pain and sacrifice of the one who created all life. This is not the only moment where animals have shown a mysterious connection to the sacred. Though they lack human understanding, their innocence and humility can sometimes remind us of God's presence in the world. In another video, a dog is seen lying down in front of a tabernacle. It remains still, almost as if bowing in reverence, before suddenly barking, as though it had noticed someone we could not see. Even when its owner called out, the dog refused to leave. It stayed fixed in place, completely captivated. Some might assume it mistook the statue for a living person. But dogs have an extraordinary sense of smell and awareness. Perhaps it perceived something holy, something real, something far beyond what human eyes could detect. In the next touching video, a cat is seen letting out a cry while staring at an image of the Blessed Mother. Some might wonder, did the animal sense something sacred in her presence? Others may think it was simply curious, drawn by the colors and shapes of the picture. Whatever the reason, the moment stirs something in us. It makes us pause and reflect on the mysterious ways animals sometimes react to things of faith, reminding us that creation itself can point back to God. The Blessed Mother has always been a sign of comfort and love for those who seek her. When she appeared to Saint Juan Diego in Mexico, she brought words of hope to a people who were suffering. Her image, miraculously left on his tilma, still stands today as a symbol of faith, unity, and divine care, a reminder that God's love reaches all corners of the world. In another heartwarming clip, we see a gentle and adorable moment. A cat softly reaching out to touch a statue of the Blessed Mother, then rubbing its head against it. The small gesture feels tender and trusting, reminding us of the comfort and peace that Mary brings into the lives of so many. It's a simple scene, yet it stirs something deep, showing how even small acts of affection can inspire a sense of warmth and serenity within our hearts. In yet another video, a curious cat is seen staring closely at a statue of Mother Mary. After watching for a while, it slowly lifts its paw and touches the figure, as though it sensed something beyond the stone. The moment feels almost sacred, as if the cat was recognizing the statue as more than just an object. For many believers, this mirrors their own devotion to Mary, who is honored as the Mother of Jesus and cherished as a symbol of compassion, mercy, and loving intercession. This moment gently reminds us to look for the sacred in the ordinary. Now, this next story is a real verified story that will touch your heart. It's not about a miracle or the heroic life of a canonized saint. It's about something far more ordinary, a dog. But don't let that simplicity fool you. Because in the quiet lives of the forgotten and the humble, grace often speaks the loudest. And sometimes, the most unexpected messenger can reveal the most powerful truths. This story, set in a small town in Italy, is one of those rare and quiet reminders that love, loyalty, and faith can be found where we least expect them. It was the year 2013 in San Donasai, a quiet village nestled in the warm countryside of southern Italy. Life in the town moved slowly, peacefully, the kind of place where church bells still mark the passing hours, and where the parish church is not just a building, it's the heart of the community. On a late afternoon around 5 o'clock, something unusual happened inside the local church, Santa Maria degli Angeli. Father Don Donato, the parish priest, was beginning to celebrate the evening mass. The pews were filled with familiar faces. The air was still. Everything seemed just as it always was, until the unexpected visitor appeared. From the back of the church, an old German shepherd walked quietly down the aisle. He didn't bark or run. He simply trotted toward the altar, settled down at the front, and lay there, calm and still. The priest noticed the dog immediately, but thought perhaps he belonged to someone in the crowd. Maybe he had followed his owner inside. It was unusual, yes, but not alarming. So Father Donato continued with the Mass. But the next day, at the same time, the dog came back. Again, he entered silently, walked the same path to the altar, and lay in the exact same spot. He stayed there through the entire service, unmoving, as if he belonged. And then he came back again, and again. Day after day, the same scene played out. The same dog, the same place, the same quiet devotion. By now, Father Donato could no longer treat it as a passing oddity. He began asking around, "Does anyone know this dog? Does he have a home, a family?" But no one did. No one had seen him before. No one claimed him. He wasn't anyone's pet, or at least not anymore. What was a simple moment of curiosity soon began to feel like something more, something deeper, a mystery wrapped in fur and silence. And the town, once unaware, began to take notice, because the dog was always calm, gentle, and never caused a disturbance. Father Donato never thought to chase him away. In fact, quite the opposite happened. Over time, he and the parishioners grew fond of this silent visitor. There was something quietly moving about seeing this old dog attend Mass every day. People began to notice his routine, even look forward to it, but none could explain it. What struck Father Donato most wasn't just the dog's loyalty, but his expression. The animal always seemed sad. There was a heaviness in his eyes. He would curl up in the same place near the altar and stay there, almost as if he were waiting for someone who never came. The priest had seen dogs in churches before, usually following their owners, but this was different. This dog came entirely on his own. It became clear that the dog had no one. He was dirty, his coat matted, and he looked like he had been living on the streets for quite some time. He wasn't aggressive, just neglected. Moved by compassion, Father Donato decided to help. First, he gave the dog a good bath, washing away the grime of abandonment. Then he brought him food and clean water. But something still tugged at his heart. Who was this dog? And why had he chosen this church, this altar? Determined to learn more, the priest took the dog to a local veterinarian to check on his health. The vet confirmed what they suspected. The dog had no tattoo, no microchip, no way of tracing an owner. He was a mystery, a stray without a name or a past. And yet, here he was, returning to Mass day after day, as if drawn by something deeper than instinct. On the way back to the church, Father Donato stopped near the square. As he stood watching the dog, a small boy passed by and knelt to pet him. Then, as he got up to leave, the boy said with a smile, "Goodbye, Tommy." The priest turned to him, surprised. "Why did you call him Tommy?" he asked. "That's his name," the boy answered simply. "I know him well. He used to live nearby. A lady named Maria took him in." Intrigued, Father Donato continued asking questions. Soon, the story began to unfold. Tommy hadn't always been alone. Some years ago, he had been abandoned, left on the streets to survive however he could. He scavenged through trash bins, wandering without direction, growing thin and sick. He was near death when a woman named Maria Lochai found him. Though she already had several dogs and lived a very modest life, Maria didn't turn him away. She took one look at his broken body and sad eyes, and let her heart decide. She brought him home, named him Tommy, and gave him a second chance at life. She nursed him back to health, fed him, and made space for him in her little home. From that moment on, Tommy was no longer a stray. He had found someone who truly loved him. And Tommy never forgot it. Every day, he showed his gratitude with the quiet loyalty that only dogs seem to understand. He followed Maria everywhere. He stayed close, always alert, always affectionate. For the first time in his life, Tommy felt safe. He had warmth, he had care, and most of all, he had love. Maria may not have had much in terms of money, but what she gave Tommy was priceless. But then came the day that changed everything. Maria died unexpectedly at the age of 57. Her loss left a silence in the neighborhood, and apparently in Tommy's heart as well. When Father Donato heard this part of the story, something stirred in his memory. He had presided over Maria's funeral. Curious, he went back to look at some photos from that day, and when he saw them, he froze. There, in one of the pictures taken during the Mass, was Tommy, lying quietly in front of the coffin. He had already been there, that very first time. Long before anyone had asked who he was. Long before the mystery began. Tommy hadn't just wandered into the church randomly. He had come looking for her. And even after she was gone, he kept returning to the only place where he had last seen the one person who had loved him unconditionally. That spot in front of the altar, where Tommy first laid down during Maria's funeral, became his daily place. It was there that he returned, again and again, as if to keep vigil. As if to say goodbye, little by little, to the woman who had once saved him, fed him, and shown him a kind of love he had never known before. Tommy had been cast aside once in his life, but Maria had welcomed him, and now he would not leave her side. Even after her death, Tommy's loyalty never faded. Each day, at the same hour, he walked through the church doors and settled into that same place. He didn't bark. He didn't beg. He simply was there, present, faithful, mourning in the only way he knew how, through presence. When Father Donato finally shared Tommy's story with the parish, the response was overwhelming. People were deeply moved. They saw not just a dog, but a symbol of something beautiful and rare, unwavering devotion. From that moment on, everyone looked out for him. If the weather turned cold or rainy, someone always offered him shelter. If he was hungry, someone was sure to feed him. He was no longer a stray. He belonged to all of them. But even with the kindness he received, Tommy's heart never healed completely. He had lost the one person who had given him everything, and no amount of comfort could fill that space. Still, he continued to come to Mass. Every day, not for food or shelter, but for love. For Maria. Not long after, Tommy collapsed. A heart attack. The parish came together once again. Everyone donated to help cover the cost of the vet's care. But despite their efforts, Tommy passed away. He was 13 years old. Many believe, and maybe they're right, that somewhere beyond this world, Maria was waiting, and that when Tommy crossed that final threshold, he wasn't alone. She was there, smiling, arms open, and the two who had shared so much in life were reunited at last. Some might hear this and think, but it was just a dog. Yet love, real love, knows no limits. It isn't reserved only for people. Animals, too, are capable of deep, selfless love. And sometimes they love more purely than we do. Tommy had once been abandoned, forgotten by the world. And sadly, so many animals share that same fate every day, left behind, unseen and unloved. But Tommy's story reminds us that even the smallest soul can carry a great lesson. In his quiet way, Tommy showed us what it means to be faithful, to be thankful, to love beyond the grave. And maybe, just maybe, that's what sanctity looks like when it's wearing fur and lies silently at the foot of an altar. Today, many people treat pets like trendy gadgets, something to enjoy when it's new, small, and cute, but easy to discard once it becomes inconvenient. A puppy may be welcomed with joy, but when vacation season arrives or the novelty wears off, that same animal is often left behind. Just like an outdated phone, it's thrown away. The numbers are heartbreaking. In France alone, nearly 100,000 animals are abandoned every year, a record high in all of Europe. That's not just a statistic. It's a silent crisis. Each one of those animals once trusted someone, and each one faced rejection. For animals, abandonment is not a small thing. It's a deep trauma. They feel fear, they feel loneliness, and often the emotional pain they carry causes more damage than any physical illness ever could. A dog like Tommy knew what it was like to be left behind. And yet, he also showed us what it means to love even after the pain. This leads us to a beautiful and mysterious vision found in the book of Isaiah. The prophet writes of a day when peace will reign not just among people, but across all creation. The wolf will live with the lamb. The leopard will lie down with the goat. The calf and the lion and the yearling together. And a little child will lead them. This vision reminds us of something we often forget, that in the beginning, before corruption entered the world, there was harmony between humans and animals. They were not enemies. There was no fear. The human being, shining with the light of innocence and grace, lived in perfect unity with creation. It's said that the animals admired this light, responded to it, and followed the human not out of fear, but out of respect and joy. That's the world we were meant for. A world of peace, a world of trust. And sometimes, through the eyes of a dog, we're invited to remember that world, and maybe even work toward restoring it. But something changed long ago. When humanity turned away from the divine order, when the first act of disobedience broke the bond between heaven and earth, we lost more than just our innocence. We lost our light. And in that fall, we didn't fall alone. The animals who once lived in harmony with us were drawn into that same brokenness. From that day forward, most creatures became cautious of humans. Not without reason. Where once there was trust, there is now fear. Where once there was peace, now there is struggle. And many animals seem to carry, in their silence, a quiet sorrow, a memory of a time when the world was whole. Yet, not all have turned away. Some animals, like Tommy, have remained loyal to us. They continue to love, even when it costs them everything. They remain faithful, even when that faithfulness leads to suffering. They are living reminders of the goodness that still lingers beneath the surface of our broken world. But our story doesn't end in chaos. The book of Isaiah speaks of a time still to come, a promise, a future. It tells us that one day, the human being will recover his light. And when that day comes, it will not just be a human victory, it will be a renewal for all creation. Animals will no longer live in fear. They will no longer fight one another. The lion will lie beside the lamb, and peace will reign across the earth. This is not just a poetic image. It's not just a metaphor. It's a sacred vision, written in Scripture as a glimpse of what is to come. A day when everything broken will be healed. A day when harmony will return. A day when love, the kind Tommy showed us, will no longer be rare, but will fill the world once again. Until then, we are invited to live in a way that prepares for that day. To protect the weak, to love with loyalty, to walk with gentleness, and to never forget that even a dog, quietly resting before an altar, can carry the light of that future into our present. But when will that day come? The day of peace, the day of light. It will come when humanity chooses it. When we no longer wait for change to arrive from outside, but begin the work within ourselves. When we decide, each of us, to act for a better world. The restoration of harmony won't happen by accident. It won't appear suddenly, like a miracle without effort. It will be built, step by step, through the choices we make, the love we give, and the way we treat the most vulnerable, including the animals entrusted to us. So we return to the question, when will this change come? When will the wolf lie down with the lamb? When will the broken bond between humans and animals, and between humans and God, be restored? The answer isn't hidden in the stars. It lives in us. It begins the moment we decide to live differently. The future Isaiah describes is not just a prophecy to admire. It's a path we are invited to walk. And each of us, in our own way, helps lay that path with the choices we make every day. That future of peace, harmony, and restored creation doesn't happen suddenly. It's something we build, one act of love at a time. And so we must begin, not tomorrow, not next year, but now. Not with grand speeches or dramatic gestures, but with small, quiet steps. The kind of steps Tommy took each day as he walked to Mass. The kind of loyalty he carried. Not because someone told him to, but because his heart remembered. Tommy didn't know theology. He never read a Bible. But he understood something that many of us forget. True love never dies. And true love never gives up, even when it hurts. In his silence, Tommy taught a lesson louder than any sermon. He reminded us that the greatest love stories are not written in books or carved in stone, but lived in faithfulness, in devotion, in simple presence. He had once been rejected, unwanted, a forgotten life. But because of Maria's kindness, he became more than just a stray. He became a witness to gratitude, a witness to memory, a witness to a bond stronger than death. And that is where we begin, by remembering. We remember that every creature, no matter how small or forgotten, carries within it the breath of life, something sacred, something meant to be protected. We remember that our place on this earth was never meant to be one of dominance, but of stewardship. That we were created not to conquer, but to care. Not to use, but to cherish. To build that body of light the prophets spoke of, we must first shed what weighs us down. Selfishness, greed, laziness, cruelty, and indifference. We must open our eyes to the pain around us, not just human pain, but all suffering, and respond not with guilt, but with action. So let us be like Tommy. Let us love until it hurts. Let us return, day after day, even when the world forgets. Let us keep the vigil, and in doing so, may we become part of the light the world so desperately needs.